Hi, and thank you for joining this live stream study in Australia with Eynesbury College and Western Sydney University International College. If you're planning to study in Australia, do you want to know the best options? And we have it here. We have them here. My name is Hugo Bustamante. I'm recruitment manager from Global Studies. Global Studies is an educational agency which helps you to apply to different destinations in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Spain, Denmark, Lithuania, Holland, Ireland, Malta, Cyprus, and others. Bueno, en general, para los que nos están escuchando, soy Hugo Bustamante de Global Studies y vamos a estarles presentando justamente hoy nuestro live stream acerca de Estudia en Australia con Eynesbury College y con Western Sydney University International College. Es así que, bueno, les invito a que puedan aplicar con nosotros. Tenemos diferentes destinos, como les estaba comentando hasta ahora. Pueden aplicar con nosotros a estudiar en el Reino Unido, en Estados Unidos, en Canadá, en Australia, en Francia, Italia, en Dinamarca, Lituania, Holanda, Irlanda, Malta, Chipre y otros destinos. Lo único que tienen que hacer es seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales y pueden contactarnos a nuestro número de WhatsApp o a nuestro correo electrónico, que pueden verlo en pantalla. Síganos en Facebook, en Twitter, en Instagram, en TikTok, en YouTube, y pueden ustedes conocer más acerca de los diferentes destinos que tenemos y las ofertas que tenemos para ustedes. Hoy quiero presentarles con nosotros a Livia Castellanos, es General Director de Américas. Livia, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿qué tal, Hugo? Un placer saludarte y un placer saludar a todas las personas que nos están escuchando el día de hoy.
Es un placer tenerte, Livia. And well, for everybody who's listening us, we have here with us to Livia Castellanos. She's General Director, Americas, and she will be helping us to show us the options in Australia. Bueno, en general vamos a estar conduciendo el live stream en ambos idiomas para que puedan estarnos entendiendo, ¿no? Y bueno, Livia, tenemos nosotros, para que podamos comenzar un poco acerca de, para comentar acerca justamente de Eynesbury College, un corto video introductorio que, si te parece, podemos mostrar a la audiencia.
Of course, adelante.
Perfecto, Livia. Livia, tenemos tu presentación lista, entonces, por favor, te agradecería si puedes comenzar a comentarnos acerca de las grandes oportunidades que hay en Australia. Sabemos que hay muchos cambios también que ayudan a los estudiantes que están aplicando para estudiar allá.
Claro, por supuesto. Yes, of course. And Muchas gracias por invitarme. Thank you so much for inviting me. Today I'm going to be talking about Eynesbury College, that it is really a great option for students if they want to access a public university in South Australia. So today, if it's okay with all of you, I will be speaking in Spanish and English both. So some parts in English, some parts in Spanish. But I really wanna make an emphasis because the Eynesbury College really has tremendous potential for the students who want to experience very high ranked universities in Australia. So I am going to start to speak about the University of Adelaide, that is in the south of Australia. So if we can move to the next slide, that would be great. Thank you. The University of Adelaide is so amazing because it is a global leading university and has a tremendous history. It is part of the G8 universities in South Australia. And for those who don't know what the G8 is, the G8 is kind of like the Russell Group in the United Kingdom, or the Canadian U15, which means the top tier universities in Australia. So this university has a lot of professors who have five, to be precise, who have been nominated to the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, as well as we have tremendous programs. We were the first university that admitted women to academic courses, and we constantly rank number one globally as one of the best universities in the world. Also, we are number 88 in the 23 the ranking. We have 3 campuses, 3 colleges, 22 study areas, and we have more than 70 bachelor's degree as a pathway to our college. So we're very proud to be partnering with this university. And I will speak a little bit more about the college so that you understand what are your options. But now I'm going to move on to the next university that we're partnered with. And this is a different university. It is the University of South Australia. And this university really focused with the linkages with the industry. So if you want to study engineering, the University of South Australia can provide you this. Like in a business park for engineers and close to the industry. If you are going to study business, you can be in the downtown of the city and you can be working and studying at the same time, which gives you really the opportunity to have that experience of working in Australia, studying in Australia, and living in Australia, which I think is absolutely great for the students. We have around 2,500 companies that work with the University of South Australia. We have 4 campuses, 7 study areas, and of course, we have more than 60 bachelor degrees that actually they connect with the Eynesbury College. So this is a modern university. This is a very industrial university, well-ranked university, the top 50 universities under 50 years old in the world. So if you want a feel that is more industrial, more corporative, if you want to have this, work experience at the same time, I think the University of South Australia is also a great option. And lastly, I want to just quickly touch on our last university pathway that we have, that is Flinders University. And Flinders University is a really progressive, student-focused, and career-minded university. It's ranked number in the 2% globally, which also, means that it's a really great school. Has around 17 study areas and 550 scholarships. So if you come to our college after you actually finish with us and move on into the Flinders University, you will have the opportunity to for sure qualify to one of hundreds of scholarships that we have. We also have around 55 bachelor degree programs with them. So I think it's really important, that we're going to talk about the programs of each so that you can see what are the opportunities for you overall with these 3 universities. But right now, I just want to go back and talk a little bit about what the college offers, so that you know what we have for you in-house. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to talk quickly about, Adelaide. And I think Adelaide is a beautiful, beautiful city, is one of the best cities to live in Australia because it is very, very affordable. It's 12% more affordable than Sydney and 11% more affordable than Melbourne. When I was listening and reading the prices about living in Adelaide, about living and renting an apartment or being in the university residence or even in a homestay with an Australian family, is absolutely very affordable, much more affordable than other countries like Canada, much more affordable than countries like the US. So I think it's very important for you guys that when we show you the prices that you can see really the opportunity. Another thing that I love about Adelaide is that it is very green, it's close to the ocean, it's safe, it's around 1.3 million people, so it's not too big, not too small, and have everything that you need to really enjoy the capital city of South Australia. Next one, please. Well, I am going to show you here, as you can see the city, right? The mountains of the city are in the left part of the picture, so you cannot see it over the right. You can see the ocean there, and then you can see the city center. You can see the University of Adelaide. You see the Flinders University and our college as well. So you can see that everything is relatively close. And transportation for the students is accessible. And it's a very green, beautiful city. Great with, I cannot tell you more about the weather because you guys probably have great weather as well. But it is just a really great place to live for young people, and especially if you want to study and also work within the city. There are many jobs available right now. So I think it will be a really great opportunity to work, live, and study there. Okay, so the employment, I think that was something that is super important to mention. And I'm so excited to share all this information because definitely it's a new thing for Australia. We have so many opportunities for employment. So just to let you know, we're looking for 155,000 people in 5 years to come and work during the study. So education and study is very, very cool because you can combine it. So for example, all these companies are looking for people in the area, and you can see, for example, in Adelaide, what will be the qualification for you guys to obtain employment. So for example, if you go and study a bachelor's degree, you can actually work for 3 years after you graduate. If you go to and do some master's coursework, you can do 4 years. If you do a master's research, you can do 4 years. If you do a vet qualification, you can do 2 years. I think this is very competitive. Everybody talks about the postgraduate work permit that is in Canada, but in Canada it's only 2 years for every program. And here in Australia, we can see that there are so many more years that you can be there and work and study. Also, if you come and study English because you need English before, or you want to improve your English, no hay ningún problema. Si quieres el programa de inglés, también puedes trabajar durante el tiempo que estás aprendiendo inglés. En ningún otro país del mundo que ofrece este tipo de programas de inglés puedes trabajar, solamente si estás haciendo licenciatura o posgrado. Entonces, en el college de nosotros y en Australia tienes esa oportunidad. Next one, please. Thank you. So we have also international students they can enter into a portal, and in the portal you can actually access employment, which is really good. You don't have to be knocking doors and seeing the newspaper or looking into the internet. You can enter into the employer portal for students, and immediately you can actually work and find a job and do all the post-work study rights that you have in Australia. Next one, please. So now I wanted to talk to you about our college, because our college has really 3 very important programs. The first one is the English language program. Para esos estudiantes que quieren mejorar su inglés o si quieren no solamente mejorarlo, pero a lo mejor quieren incrementar su nivel de inglés. Obviamente tenemos, nosotros en nuestro college tenemos programas de inglés. We also have the foundation program that are for those students who only finish grade 11. So in many countries in South America, students only have 11 years of elementary education. That will be your high school ends in year 11, right? And also if you finish grade 12, or if your bachillerato or your qualification for the preparatoria is 12 years, you can do diploma programs as well, which I really like it, because you can not only graduate with an undergraduate degree, but you also can graduate with a diploma. So you have two qualifications in one. Which is great. This is the International Student Campus, which is fantastic. So all the international students come here, take classes here, have a lot of activities, and then they transfer into their universities. And that will be the university of your choice, as we spoke at the very beginning. So why our college is really a good college? First of all, I wanted to tell you that we are very flexible. We have comprehensive pathway programs. We have more than 150 degrees that we offer through this pathway program. And we have multiple intakes. So you can come with us in February, you can come in June, you can come in October, and you can also save time, and you can do an accelerator program, which means you can actually have, spend less time and graduate faster. And some people love that. We have a very small class sizes. We guarantee only 24 students per classroom, which I think is phenomenal. And also we get academic program support through coordinators. And also, of course, we are perfectly located. People are super friendly. The staff, the director, they are amazing people. And the instructors, they are great. So I think that the experience is very hands-on, but also is very unique, and you have the opportunity to really meet one-on-one your professors, and also learn from them, but make life lasting friendships. That's very important, and it gives you a foundation to really move on in your studies. I think lots of people think that going directly into a one-year university, they are ready for that. But I assure you that having a year of transition in which you can actually get yourself acquainted with the environment, acquainted with the academic expectations, and transition years and pathway years are not really for bad students. And people think like that. Well, I'm a great student. Yes, maybe, and for sure you are a great student, but it's not about being a good student or a bad student. It's about moving from one country to another. It's speaking a language that maybe you don't speak every day. It's about taking courses and learning a different academic system. And I think a year, it gives you the great opportunity to set a foundation in Australia in which it will really launch your success for your career. So I will move on to the next page. Okay, so back, please. Thank you. So what do we offer? I think this is very important. So we offer a foundation studies program for students who are finishing only grade 11. So if your high school only ends in grade 11, you coming into a foundation program, and then you do a bachelor's degree that it is a 3-year bachelor degree. And that is in the 3 universities that I mentioned. And you have options for more than 150 bachelor's degree in the universities of South Australia. So the streams are business, engineering, health sciences, humanities. You can choose from anything, and you have, a lot of choices. You can do it in 8 months or in 12 months. Is whatever you want. If you want an accelerated course, you can actually do it in 8 months. And I mean, the cost, you can see it right there. These are Australian dollars. So you know more or less what it's going to cost you. Next one, please. This is again for foundation studies. These are all the programs that we have. That is really incredible that we have so many. We have students from Latin America right now studying medicine, studying business. So if you want even to be into the health sciences or, be a doctor, these universities really welcome through the pathway of our college. Now I'm going to move on into the next page, and we are going to talk about. I am showing you just quickly here what are really the progression to each university. So I'm not going to elaborate too much because we have many things. So you can always go to the website and check the programs. So I'm not going to take your time on that. So I will move on. But this is just to show you. Now, the diploma that we have, and I think this is super important for you guys to know, because let's say that you finish your grade 12, so that you finish your bachillerato, your preparatoria, que es equivalente al año 12, so equivalent to the grade 12 of Australia, you can enter the second level of our diploma. And the second level of our diploma has business, computing, and IT and engineering. So when you finish that year, instead of going into the degree first year, you go into the second year, which I think is phenomenal, because if you take the accelerated time, you can have a bachelor's degree program within 2 years and 8 months. So you spend 8 months in your diploma stage 2 that you can see on the screen, and then you do 2 years of bachelor, which means in 2 years and 8 months you can actually walk away with a full degree, right, from one of these universities that we have here. And I think that is good because it really saves you money, saves you time, right? You can go directly into unemployment and you can work while you're doing this in Australia. So I think it is a wonderful opportunity for our students, and I really encourage you to explore these opportunities. Next one. So here you can see, okay, so now let's talk about ELICOS. And ELICOS es para las personas que quieren estudiar un poco de inglés o que quieren realmente a lo mejor mejorar su inglés antes de entrar al programa de Foundation o al programa de diploma. Entonces tenemos programas que empiezan cada 10 semanas, que eso me encanta y ustedes lo pueden ver aquí la progresión. Entonces, si tú tienes, por ejemplo, un 3.5 de inglés en el IELTS, tú puedes tomar 10 semanas y te mueves al 4 y luego te mueves al 4.5, al 5, al 5.5. Si, por ejemplo, ahorita tienes un 5.0 para entrar al diploma o para entrar al foundation, ¿verdad? Puedes tomar 10 semanas. Esas 10 semanas te cuestan alrededor de $400 australianos por semana, ¿verdad? Y hay 9 inscripciones en las que tú te puedes meter en cualquier momento. Y hablo en español porque si es para las personas que necesitan un poquito más de inglés, bueno, entonces así está. Entonces creo que esto está muy económico. Además que tenemos un precio especial para estudiantes de América Latina para este precio, para este programa. Y este programa para los estudiantes de América Latina está reducido en precio y se lo voy a mandar esto a Hugo para que tengan la información y pueda platicar con ustedes acerca de esto en más adelante si están interesados. Next one, please. Ahora, we're going to talk about accommodation. And accommodation is really is whatever you want. We have it available for you. So, for example, we have the Adelaide Student Lodge. And the Adelaide Student Lodge is available for the students who are less than 18 years old. So if you finish your high school at 17 and you want to come, of course you can live with us. You know, it is really a beautiful building. All the apartments or all the rooms are already fully furnished. You don't have to bring absolutely anything. You don't have to bring bed. You don't have to bring anything. We have it for you, and the meals are provided. And it is $350 Australian dollars per week and includes absolutely everything. Also, if you decide, you can live with an Australian family if that is what you want, but you have to be under 18 years old to do that. And you can, again, get at the experience with the people from Australia and live with them. And it is around 300 Aussie dollars per month, and also includes meals and accommodation. So you can see that really it is a very affordable option. The next one is the student apartments, and we have multiple options with the student apartments. We have, private room with private kitchen with, private washrooms. You can cook your own meals, and it is around 290 Aussie dollars for the smallest room. And if you want the suite and el más elegante y el más bonito, is 490 per week as well. So we also assist you in renting. Like, we always do things. I think that is very, very important. Number one, we truly recommend that the students are living with us the first year. And why do we ask for that? Because when you live with us, we can help you, we can guide you, you can transition super good into Australia. You can get to know the culture, make friends, and our team will help you. But also, after that year, we can help you to move out with your friends, and you can live in an apartment. You can cook your own meals. You can hang out with your friends. You can have roommates. So I think it's important to mention that, the first year, we highly recommend that you stay with us so that we can help you. And the second year, you can go with your friends, and we will help you to find an independent rental apartment where you can live with people that you really like. El siguiente. Ahora, we have a student experience coordinator, and I really like these because we provide you not only with the school. I know that you don't want to be studying all the time. You want to explore Australia. You want to explore the city. You want to make friends. So we have an entire calendar of activities and events where you can participate. We have a student experience coordinator. The person will take you places, will show you around. They will have different festivities and celebrations, and from yoga and meditations to uni days, to sociocultural events, so that you can go and see a kangaroo and see a koala and go to the beach. So I think that it is great because that way you can make more friends, and you can make friends from all over the world. Next one. And you can see our students there, and a beautiful picture of them having lots of fun. And we hope that, if you're watching us, the next time the picture is with you and your friends in Australia. So I think with that will be the end of my presentation. So let's check it out for the last slide. Yes, and then finally, please come and access our Instagram, our Facebook, the YouTube, and the LinkedIn. And, we partner with Hugo. Hugo's a great friend of ours, and we really like how he guides and really assists the students. So please reach out, talk to us, talk to Hugo, and we will be more than happy to get you ready and settle to come to Eynesbury College in South Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Livia. It was a pleasure to have you here with your presentation. And now today we also have here with us to Dimitri. Dimitri, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Hugo?
Fine, thank you, Dimitri. Dimitri Makris is Director of Marketing and Admissions at Western Sydney University International College, and he will be explaining us the different options they do have for us today. Dimitri, your presentation is ready.
Thank you very much.
If you want, you can tell me when to change the slides.
Okay, sure. Well, let's start with the first one. So hello, everybody. I thought I'd just spend a little bit of time telling you who we are. So obviously, we're based in Sydney, Australia's biggest city. And actually Western Sydney is, a huge geographic area of Sydney. And so, we're one of probably 5 of the big universities that are based in Sydney. And we're a relatively young university. We're an even younger college. And, next slide, Hugo, and you'll be able to see that we started in 2015 with only 4 students. And we were well on our track to become, a good sized college of 500 students. But then this small little thing called COVID happened. And it kind of stopped everybody for a couple of years. But the important thing for us at International College is we only have international students. It's a small team. We've got 20 full-time staff, and we've got another 20 teaching staff as well. So I'll tell you why that's important later on in the presentation, when you've got a small team and a relatively small campus as well. So next one, Hugo. Fantastic. Yeah, so, we get the question, why a pathway college? Lots of students want to go directly into a university, and they think this is a fantastic opportunity. So I think it's important to note that, next one, Hugo, that what a pathway does is, it's the simplest way I describe it is, it's like holding somebody's hand and gently letting go as they go through their higher education journey. So if you go to the next slide, Hugo. Oh. We're frozen. I think we might be. Oh, we lost Hugo.
Do we? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Livia.
Thank you so much. What happened?
We lost Hugo, who was driving for us.
Sorry.
No, you're back, Hugo.
We have you back. Awesome.
But we are ready now. Sorry. Here is your presentation, and we already were here, yes?
So one of the important things about pathway colleges is they give you a guaranteed entry into university when you complete your pathway. So you don't have to sit another test. You're not going to be asked to present academic transcripts, etc., except for a few courses, which, like, for example, nursing, which is very popular. And in order for any student to do nursing, they have to have an IELTS or a really high English language equivalency of 7 IELTS. Another really important thing about pathway students is you're considered a university student from day one. That means you get access to the university facilities. You get access to any university activities on campus, as well as what the college does, its own activities. So next slide, thanks. So this is the pathway model, right? So a high school student studying, to take if you look at the red part, that's actually the courses we offer, foundation and diploma. That's the bridge between your high school studies and then your university. And you might go into the first year of your bachelor degree, for example, or if you do a diploma, you might go straight into your second year of studies. So you actually don't lose any time. And that's really important, because for some students, they want to get their studies done and they want to continue and see what work opportunities they have in Australia. And that's also really important, because the Australian government at the moment, it needs skilled workers. So the migration programs are looking for those skilled workers, and the government provides you with what's called a post-study work visa. From 2 to 4 years, you can stay in Australia and try to build your career, get some international experience, and who knows, you might return back to your home country You'll have strong English skills. You'll have international experience. It will make you very employable. Okay, Hugo, next one. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our brand new campus, and we moved in April there. And facilities are something that I think you'll find in Australia is wonderful. So we're located in the heart of Parramatta. Parramatta is like the second downtown area of Sydney. It's actually the geographic centre of the city of Sydney. And Sydney has a fantastic public transport network. So you get off the train station in Parramatta, you walk literally 80 metres and you're at our campus. And the train takes half an hour to get you to, for example, the CBD where the famous Opera House and the Harbour Bridge are located. So there's a fantastic network connecting. And the other thing is, with a brand new building, brand new facilities, you get to experience some of the latest technology, but the technology used to better teach you. And I'll give you an example of that. If we go to the next slide, here you go. These are just some pictures of, the campus. These are sort of official photographs you can see here. Next one. Thanks, Hugo. Of course, we've got these still shots of, students, but they're posing. They've been directed. If you go to the next one, I prefer these sort of, or the one after. I prefer these photos because these are our real students studying on campus. So the bottom photo, just to give you an example, is we put on a breakfast every Wednesday for free for students at the International College. It is a way for them to just bond, have some social time together, because that's important. The other thing you'll notice is the diversity of students. We have Asian students, we have students from India, we do have some students from South America, although not many. Students from whether you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Hindu. The other really important thing in Australia, being a multicultural country, is the tolerance. So we're not a very judgmental people. We kind of accept people for who they are. Now, that's really important if you are studying and you're going to have all sorts of other pressures, not just your, understanding your course and your content, but adjusting socially. One thing, Hugo, I've spent a bit of time in South America, and I've traveled a lot of it, and I've found that South American students really, really adjust well in Australia. They're very open to communicate, and I think Australians really appreciate that. And so for lots of the students, this gives them an extra advantage when they're whether they're applying for work or whether they're looking for extra projects. So not only are our students multicultural, but if you go on to the next slide, you'll see that our staff, this is some of our staff, are also quite multicultural. And in fact, Sylvia, who is, in the second picture with under the balloon arch, she's from Colombia. And so we have this spread of staff. Myself, my name is Dimitri. It's not a very Australian name, but my parents are Greek, but I was born in Australia. So again, our staff are international. Our students are international. And so we understand the difficulties that sometimes students have when they're looking to, jump across to a brand new country. Again, you can see some of our teaching staff as well, and some of our happy students. I spoke before about being a relatively small campus, and one of the important things is our teachers know all of our students. And that's important because sometimes a student might be a little bit shy. They might not understand the English language class, and they might fall behind. Not because they're not smart or intelligent, but just because they might be missing home, they might not have understood. When you're in a relatively small environment like Pathway College, where we have small classes, teachers pick up on that really quick. And our number one goal is to make sure a student finishes their pathway program, and goes on to their university degree. That's the measure of success for us. So next slide, thanks, Hugo. And I just wanted to spend a very quick moment showing you like a map of the courses on offer. So the important thing to note here, next one, thanks, Hugo, is that a foundation course is like a year 11. It's before you finished high school. And basically, we go into courses like nursing or construction or business or science. So around 80% of the university's courses with a foundation course you can go. And there are two types. We call them standard and extended. Extended is a 12-month program and standard is an 8-month program. So usually, you can fast track and go quicker if you like, instead of studying for a full year. Sometimes students prefer, though, to adjust and have that full Australian experience. Next one, thanks. And a very similar map for our diploma. Okay, so again, we go into arts or engineering or business streams, and you can see in business, there's so much to choose from. Doing a Bachelor of Business, you can specialize in human resource if you want, or accounting if you like numbers, or even marketing or sports management if, like the World Cup is on now, and, if that's your passion, you can pursue that. The other area is information systems. And, recently the university's put on a lot of courses in ICT, data analytics. These are really important areas that we see a lot, a really positive future for. Okay, next one, thanks. So I spoke about, this notion of small classes, a lot of support. This is really important, is that students who complete their first, their pathway course, they actually tend to be just as good or even better than students in their second year of their university. They're better prepared. They've adjusted more. And you can see by the pass rates in our courses, they're really high. So students come into either their first year or their second year of their university really confident that they're going to do well. And we have had students who say to us, come back and say, oh, I really wish university was like the college, where everyone knew each other and, everyone was more friendly. Because it's like you're this big fish in a small pond, and all of a sudden you become this small fish in this very big pond. Our university has 50,000 students, about 8,000 international students. So, we have 10 campuses, in Greater Sydney. If you combined all of our campuses together, we'd probably be the size of 3 football stadiums plus. So, it's a big footprint for students. So and that's why I think, pathway colleges can help you adjust. Thanks, Hugo. These are some of the pricing. These are in Australian dollars, which is, a little bit, the Australian dollar is a little bit cheaper than American dollars. But I guess when you're thinking about the investment, and this is what it is, you can see, sometimes a pathway college tends to be a little bit cheaper than direct entry. And if you're doing the 8-month program, it certainly is cheaper to study. But this is just the tuition fee. It doesn't account for your living expenses. Students have an opportunity to work as well. When they're in Australia, they can earn really good money to support themselves. But I think in comparison, my sort of response around price is you always pay for what you get. But you also don't want to pay for something that's too overpriced. So I think for Western Sydney, we have a lot of students who are the first in family doing higher education. So we pride ourselves on being priced at a very reasonable cost against some other Australian universities as well. Thanks. Next one. Some of the entry criteria, right? So basically, I break it up into 2 sections. One is your English language ability. So that's going to serve you regardless. And we go from, being able to get from a 5 IELTS entry all the way into 6 or 6.5 if you're in nursing, program. And then in terms of, entry criteria, we have the academic entry criteria. And for a lot of those entry criteria across South America, it's just a successful completion of your high school will enable you to either look at a foundation or a diploma program. Okay. And our admissions team will look at cases in South America on an individual basis and make an assessment for your eligibility. Okay. So I'm going to spend really fly through this quickly, but I want to talk a little bit about the first year of study. We've been hinting at how successful it can make you. If you have that extra support, and also talk about the impact of COVID and why that's important. Next one, thanks. So, the impact of COVID and why the first year is really important on your studies. So for a lot of either students or agents who are counseling students, you're coming up against this next generation, and next slide, who has had their education disrupted, right? So look at some of these numbers. 1.6 billion students have been impacted. We're talking on average 37 weeks of schools being closed. And this is some of the data that, we've been able to pull through our Navitas Insights team. And if you go to the next slide, you can see that what does that mean? What does that mean, the school closures? It means that the gap between the advantage and disadvantage is actually increasing. Okay, some students didn't have access to online learning, or some students really benefit from face-to-face teaching. Others are fine online, but this gap is widening. So if you see on the next slide, we've actually got some specific data for our Latin American Caribbean, and we can see it was up there as one of the highest over the 2 years, 77 weeks of school closures. It's up there with one of the highest parts of the world that suffered from COVID closures for the schools. And so where am I going with this? If you look specifically at some of the countries, the next slide, thanks. You can see in Chile and in Colombia and again in Mexico, quite a high number of weeks of either full or partial closures of schools. In Australia, we had 38 weeks, and it felt like eternity in the city of Melbourne. Sydney was much less. But, imagine having your 2 years of your high school being interrupted. You'll probably come out thinking the world's a bit more scarier. You might be a bit more fearful. And I guess I'm heading to a section where pathway colleges are well placed to give students that extra mental and social support that they need if they've had a turbulent high school. So if we go to the next slide, we can start to see. Now, if I'm a young child, I'm sure that, mummy and daddy have had to do Zoom calls with a child holding a child on the side. They're not really that much affected. But 15 to 18-year-olds, those really important years when they're gearing up for, studying for their exams, really want to do a good result in high school, school closures would have had a significantly more of an impact on those students. So going on to the next slide, thanks, Hugo. We're talking about a gap of 6 to 12 months, okay? We're talking the highest was in South Asia, a gap of sort of study and really low for East Asia and the Pacific. But Latin America, if you can see, is 11.7, months. On average, it's a year of learning delay. Why is this important? We're going to feel the effects of this in 2023, in 2024, not the immediate effects now as countries are opening up. And next slide, thanks, Hugo. So I think, and the next one is, please, too. So I guess, next slide, thanks, Hugo. This is the point I'm making is, you've got small classes in a pathway, you've got engaged teachers, we're monitoring your attendance. If you're not arriving in class, we know. We've changed the academic assessment. We've got extra support. We've got also social support for students. So we're dealing with a cohort of students that might be a little bit intimidated, or their parents might be really worried if they're going to adjust. And that's why I think a pathway option can sometimes be a better option for a student than their first year of their study at a university. So first year of any study that you do is setting you up for success if you can do it really well, right? Because you'll know you can handle anything coming in second or third or fourth year of your study. So that's why getting the first year right is really important. And pathway colleges are brilliant at doing that. I think the last slide I have is just our website address, which you can find out more information on the International College at Western Sydney. And so, Hugo, Livia, thank you very much for an opportunity to present here. And I hope, there's some key points for people to be able to digest and think about.
Dimitri, thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and Livia, the same for you. And yes, we do have some questions, please. In general, what can you tell me, please, about the intakes that you have during the year?
Sure. 3 times a year, we have in March, in July, and in November. So a student, there's not much of a gap. If a student misses one intake because they haven't collected all their documentation, they don't have to wait a full year or a full 6 months.
Okay. And well, this in general, you were talking about different the types of accommodation that you can offer, and as to reserve the accommodation.
Well, we lost you a bit, Hugo, but I think in terms of accommodation in Australia, there are a few types. You can do what's called homestay, which is where families take you in. You can have your shared accommodation, which tends to be really popular, where students will tend to find other students and find a way to live together. And then you can have your individual lodgements. At the University of Western Sydney, we have accommodation on campus. So I think it's important to note that Australia doesn't have like an American education system where you have these big campuses and you have life on campus. We do have student accommodation, but it tends to be either separate to a location or very close to the university. So I think that's a bit of a distinction. And look, the price can vary depending on what you like. It can be from $100, and we in Australia use weeks, not months, right up to $350, depending on if you want services and etc.
Okay, thank you, Dimitri. And could you please explain us a little bit about the difference between studying a foundation program and diplomas?
Yeah, foundation is preparatory courses. So a lot of it is an introduction into, say, mathematics, an introduction into English language academic writing, for example. It's that year 11 level of education. A diploma is the equivalent of the first year of a bachelor qualification. So if I take business, and most Australian institutions will have a generic first year of business. So you don't have to specialize straight away in saying, oh, I want to study marketing. You can study, and it's the same with a diploma. It's about preparing you and giving you the foundation of subjects. So you'll tend to do a bit of a broader range of subjects, but within your discipline, as in within business. So a broader range of subjects within business. So you might have report writing, you might have to develop those kinds of presenting, those kinds of skills, accounting, preparing some of those basic skills that you need. So I think the main distinction would be diplomas are a higher level of study, higher engagement. and foundations are really preparatory, as in, can you complete the units? Can you successfully pass them? Yes, you're eligible then to enter the first year of a bachelor degree. Whereas if you complete the diploma, you can step directly into the second year of a bachelor degree. So again, you're not losing time.
Thank you, Dimitri. And could you please tell us a little bit about maybe scholarships or offers that you have for LATAM or for Europe students, maybe?
Yeah. Western Sydney they offer a multi-year scholarship. So that's every year we have a $3,000, and this is for the degree programs, a $3,000 degree scholarship, which is automatically granted off the price, or a merit-based scholarship of $6,000 per year off the price. You're looking at approximately 70% or above in terms of your grades to be able to be eligible for that. When you do a pathway course, we've got an offering of $1,000 bursary because our prices are significantly cheaper. But if you pass the pathway course with 70%, you will automatically get the $6,000 scholarship into your bachelor degree. So from that offering, I suppose the accommodation in Western Sydney tends to be a little bit cheaper than downtown Sydney. The price is quite competitive. So from a pricing perspective and a scholarship offering, there's strong incentives for students, and will continue in 2023.
Oh, thank you, Dimitri. And here is another question. This is in relation to the English exams that are accepted for admission, please.
So at the moment, we've got we're accepting. So we run our own English language test that's called a PVT that we can, through you, Hugo, we can administer for a student to study to get an understanding of where their English language level is. We can accept IELTS, we can accept, Pearson's, and we can accept even TOEFL and TOEFL equivalents. So you're not restricted that you must sit a test. But what I always counsel is you want to have a strong English language score, not just for your course, but also for your visa application, because that's a totally separate section that we as an institution don't control. It's the government setting those criteria. So I think that's an important step. Any student that is well prepared in their English will always benefit than a student who's not really that well prepared and will struggle to understand. I spoke before about, and I've seen many Latin American students who are really intelligent, but they're just not understanding, or the pace of English, they're not understanding, so they fall behind in their class. So that's just my kind of advice, is you have many options in terms of English language. The other thing, Hugo, is we do offer English as well. So you can do 10 weeks or 20 weeks of English. I firmly believe you learn English much faster and more robustly in a country where you're forced to speak English, or you're in an English environment. It's a lot harder to be in Latin America or South America and trying to learn English with your tutor once a week or twice a week, or your class where you've got English language class 2 times a week. So students might feel, oh my God, I'm never going to get to this level of English. But when they come and they study an ELICOS course, they realize, in 10 weeks, I've improved so much. I can actually do this.
Yes, that's really important, Dimitri, as you said. And Livia was telling us a little bit about the chances that students have to work while they are studying in Australia, yes? Even if they are studying English, yes?
Yes, at the moment, the Australian government has unrestricted work hours until July 2023. That means, you can, how many hours you want to work, you can. obviously, I think a good sort of ratio, and this was previous to COVID, was 20 hours a week students could work. That's a balance between their studies and work. And in Australia, you can earn, for example, $20 per hour of your study. So the wages in Australia tend to be quite healthy. Obviously, the temptation for students is to work a lot, earn lots of money, maybe send some money back home. But there's a cost to that, and that could be their academic studies. So I think that's just part of the journey of being a student, of balancing that out, of working, sometimes working in some jobs which are not, very glamorous, but, it could be McDonald's and etc. But that's the journey of a student in sort of wherever you are, in sort of Western countries. It's that journey and that experience.
Thank you, Dimitri. And in general, when we're talking about the advantages that the students have in Australia, when we are comparing, for example, the students that study in the US or study in Europe, what can you advise the students to choose Australia to study?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hugo. I think Australia, as I said before, is much more welcoming and friendly. I think we're not so worried about class, more worried about character of people. I think you've got fantastic, work opportunities that sometimes you might not have in other countries. You've got strong institutions in Australia. It can seem daunting and far away, but it has a beautiful climate and ecosystem. And I know I've come across as being very serious, but Australians are fun as well. We like to have fun. We don't take ourselves very seriously at sometimes. So, Livia was mentioning about holding a koala and etc. And yes, that plays out, and students get those opportunities to see some of that, and experience some of that. I also think, I tend to think Australia offers a balance of things. So it might not have the best universities, but when you combine everything together, the student experience, the quality of the institution, and the job opportunities after, I think it's a very rounded and very realistic choice for students. They should at least be considering Australia as something they'd want to pursue.
And Hugo, I would like to add something that I think is super important for all the students who are listening to us. A lot of people in Latin America think that Canada provides the best opportunity for the postgraduate work permit. So the things that I think are super important to mention for the students is Canadá te da 2 años, Estados Unidos te da 0. Inglaterra te da 2 años y Australia te da de 2 a 5 años. So I think it's super important that people actually understand that, because everybody's talking about how Canada gives you all these opportunities, but I think Australia is really a great investment for students. In also relationship to the price, the tuition, and the living cost is much more affordable than going to Canada, than going to US. So if you're thinking about it, I think that Australia is a great option.
That's really important, ¿no? Es muy importante realmente, Livia, lo que estás comentando, ¿no? Que los estudiantes realmente tienen entre 2 a 5 años, ¿no? De posibilidad, digamos, de estar trabajando como un permiso posterior a terminar sus estudios, ¿no? Realmente es muy, muy importante para que todos los estudiantes lo tomen en cuenta, ¿no?
Claro.
This is really, really important, as you said, Livia, and the students has to this opportunity to be 2 to 5 years. Yes,
and
working.
furthermore, Australia is the only country right now that accepts students to work while they are studying English. So I think it is very important to mention that, because if you're taking a ELICOS program or an ESL program, how they call it in North America, you are not eligible to even work 20 hours a week unless you are actually studying a credit program that will be an undergraduate or a graduate degree.
Yes, that is really important. And we have no more questions by now. And I want to thank you really for all this information. And we are ready here for all the students that are interested in studying in Australia. We are here to answer your questions. Don't forget to contact us. We will be happy to help you with all the application process, ¿no? Todos los estudiantes que realmente quieren aplicar a Australia, no pierdan esta oportunidad, como Livia nos ha estado comentando y también Dimitri. Es un país con muchas oportunidades, ¿no? Para que puedan estar trabajando mientras estudian, para que puedan aprender, tengan muchas oportunidades para divertirse, pasarla bien en un lugar único en el mundo, ¿no? Además de estarse formando profesionalmente con una excelente calidad educativa. Entonces, les invitamos realmente a que nos contacten como Global Studies. Estamos para asistirles en todo su proceso de aplicación. Don't forget, contact us. We will help you with all your application process. And we are in contact with all the team in Australia, and they will help us with your application, and they will help with all the questions you have. We can help you to do this dream come true. Contact us. And thank you, Livia. Thank you, Dimitri, for this opportunity to know more about these two institutions. And we're happy. We're happy to have you. And all the people that was with us, thank you. And don't forget to contact us.
Gracias. Chao.
Gracias.
Chao.